Let's bring in CTV's Rachel Aiello here. Okay, so you heard a lot of questions, and we knew they were coming for the NDP leader, saying basically, well, hold on a second. You just ripped up an agreement you had with the Trudeau Liberals. You say that Trudeau is the wrong leader. Canadians need to get rid of him. You want to be the next prime minister, but here you are now. You're going to prop them up next week. What's going on? What's your takeaway here, Rachel?
Yeah, we finally got the answer from Singh that we have been asking about since he pulled out of the deal. At least so far, he doesn't seem ready to go to an election. And his line here, Todd, about not wanting to be goaded into it, essentially, not wanting to do what Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre wants him to, I think ties into his whole approach of trying to contrast himself as the alternative to the Conservatives. So he doesn't want to be seen to be basically doing Poilievre's bidding and helping bring down the government. This, though, I think everyone should kind of realize is a bit, frankly, irrelevant. The Bloc had come out first and said they weren't going to be backing this Conservative motion, and that took all of the wind out of the Conservative sails, because in order for this non-confidence motion to pass, based on the allocation of seats in the House of Commons, the Conservatives would have needed both the Bloc and the NDP to make it stick. So when the Bloc came out yesterday and said they weren't going to back it, regardless of what Singh said today, the Prime Minister was going to be sitting a bit more comfortable next week come that motion.
So why would the Conservatives do this if they know full well the likelihood of the Bloc and the NDP both supporting them is, well, slim to none?
Well, I think it is going to keep their argument alive of, look at these two other parties. They're just continuing to prop up the government, continuing to draw that differentiation for themselves as the only party pushing to get rid of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I do suspect, even though this one was not successful, that the Conservatives will continue to try this at every opportunity. They do have a handful or so of these Opposition Day motions to bring forward. But what's going to be really interesting to watch, Todd, is if Jagmeet Singh is saying now that he doesn't want to do this because Poilievre is asking for it, does that mean on every other non-confidence motion the Conservatives bring forward, they won't back it on principle, which would then put us into a situation where it would have to be something that the government brought forward, like a budget, to have the NDP maybe consider voting non-confidence. It'll be interesting to watch, and depending on, I guess, the language in the motions that the Conservatives advance, but a really fascinating and fast-moving week of minority dynamics and this will they, won't they, how are they going to vote, is the government going to fall next week? It's been fast and furious for sure here on Parliament Hill.
Yeah.